They called them angels on horseback, these literal lifesavers bringing miracles in their saddlebags. No, Appalachia back in the 1920s was rustic, rural, and isolated. They didn't have paved roads. There weren't hospitals around every corner. 911 was a dream decades in the future. If a dad saw his wife go into labor on a dark night, he didn't make a phone call. He prayed. Oftentimes that just wasn't enough. See, the mortality rate for mothers and babies in Appalachia back then was some of the worst in the nation, maybe the world. Creek beds would rise up and flood without warning. Families and entire clans would live up in a holler, be days away from any doctor that was in the community. I mean, going 10 miles would be a whole day's trip, and that's if the weather was cooperating. Now, this wasn't ignorance or even laziness, as some folks like to claim about this region. This was simply isolation. This is the situation these folks found themselves in. And into this situation rode Mary Breckinridge. Folks, my name is Joel Brashear, and I am, among a few other things, an Appalachian storyteller. And a lot of folks have asked me here lately, what is this other things you talk about when you say hi to us in these videos? Well, I'll tell you one of them. One of the things I do is I am the chairman for a group called the Wendover Preservation Council. And we act as caretakers for Mary Breckinridge's home place here at Wendover. And as part of that role, I get to share her story and her legacy, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to tell you about one Miss Mary Breckinridge. She was born in 1881 to a family of privilege. Her dad was the ambassador to Russia. Her granddad was a general and a vice president of the United States. She was born into a very well-connected and very privileged family. She could have lived in big cities and comfortable houses, not had to do a whole lot. Life kind of got in the way of all that. See, Miss Breckinridge lost her two young children, Brecky and Polly, at a very young age. Marriage didn't work out for her either, so she faced a lot of grief early on. Grief affects all of us, differently. Some of us crawl in a hole and kind of hide. That is not what Miss Breckinridge did. She took this hurt, this pain that she was feeling, and she decided to build on it. She didn't want anybody to suffer through what she had, so she started looking around. She used her connections to try to find ways to help mothers and babies, and what she found was midwives. So she traveled to England and Scotland to learn about midwifery. And while she was there, she saw these midwives going up into the highlands and these hills, and they were treating families and birthing babies and doing these miraculous things in some of the most inhospitable terrain imaginable. This is exactly what she wanted to do, and it was working. So she learned all she could, and she decided to bring it home. And when she brought it back to the United States, she did not bring it to Washington, D.C. She didn't even bring it to Lexington, Kentucky. She brought it to Leslie County. Hyden, Kentucky, my hometown. That's where she set up in 1925 the Frontier Nursing Service. This was a rural healthcare outreach program. Think about this. In 1925, a woman set up a rural healthcare program, and she did it from the back of a horse. The midwives she brought in, mostly from England, at great expense, they would go out in these communities, often on horseback because that's the only way they could get there. They'd cross frozen rivers. I heard tell one time that a midwife held a lantern over the horse as they was traveling in the middle of the night because the horse was getting spooked. That's the only way they could see. Just amazing things these ladies could do. And one thing I always talk about Miss Breckinridge is she never looked at the people of Appalachia as a problem to be solved. I respect that. She saw this region and these people as a partner in her work. And I think that's very special. Money was always an issue for Frontier in those early days. Like I said, Miss Breckinridge came from a family of privilege, but there was never enough to fully sustain this project. But she used her connections. She sent letters, she made trips, she wrote a book, all to fund this work. She would always say, when we need the money, it will come. Somehow it did. Somehow it did. Miss Breckinridge passed in 1965, and by that time, thousands of babies had been born to frontier midwives. Countless families had been treated. And the work they did, it wasn't just mothers and babies. They treated whole families. They vaccinated children. They taught hygiene, nutrition. This was a whole family care that they were doing. And it changed the face of Appalachia. This woman's vision, this woman's work saved countless lives. Thank God for Mary Breckinridge. Thank God she saw a need and decided to fill it. Thank God she came here and did what she could. Thank God for this angel on horseback who brought modern medicine to the mountains. With my work at Wendover, I get to see every day the history of her home. You can feel it in every log, every stone. It's not flashy. It's not in your face, but it's here. It's present. It's persistent. It is my absolute honor to work to preserve the myth, the legend, and the legacy of Mary Breckinridge. And it would be my absolute honor to show it off to you if you'd ever like to come and visit. We're here in Leslie County, and we'd love to tell you more about it. Now, I'll be back real soon with another story. I do like telling stories. I hope you get something out of these. I like telling them. We'll be back real soon with another one. If you like this, click like, give it a share, maybe leave a comment, tell me where you're watching from. On this one, tell me about a healthcare worker who changed your life. Maybe went out of their way or did something special for you. I'd love to hear some of those stories. Till then, we'll see you next time.